This is a special edition of the Channel 2 News at 6. Pope John Paul II visits Chicago with Bill Kurtis, Walter Jacobson, and Harry Porterfield.
Good evening. At this hour, the Pope is running behind schedule a bit. He was supposed to arrive here even as we speak in Chicago at 6 o'clock.
How goes it, besides being cold?
It is cold, but despite the cold, despite the fact that some of the people down below me have been waiting since 10:30 this morning.
Walter, we are, as we said earlier, about at the 6200 block of Milwaukee Avenue at Milwaukee and Raven. As you can see behind me, this is kind of like a St. Patrick's Day crowd downtown. They're lined about 4 to 5 to 6 deep along Milwaukee Avenue. The police are keeping everybody pretty much out of the curbstones. The streets have not been blocked yet. There are bands on almost every corner, Polish bands, Irish bands, just about everybody here. And there's a spirit of a kind of a rejoicing, yet it's kind of hard to describe. The holiness aspect of it is being felt by this crowd. There's a lot of pride about being Polish, a lot of pride about being Catholic here.
What happens if the Pope would stop here? What would you do?
I think I'd probably faint.
You would faint?
Almost.
And this young lady, you've been here since 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Judy Newmeyer.
Judy, all right, Judy, what would you do if the Pope stopped?
Gee, I'd try to shake hands with him and talk to him and just be as close as I could.
All right, Bill and Walter, in about an hour or 15 minutes from now, we'll know what's going to happen here on Milwaukee Avenue on the route of the Pope's motorcade.
Father James Rocha is going to be with us through the days of the Pope's visit. What exactly will we be seeing of Holy Name?
In each of the cities he goes to, first thing he does is visit the Cathedral Church, which is the mother church of the diocese. And so the Cardinal will meet him there, and representatives of priests and religious will be present in the cathedral. But I know just driving by a short time ago that not only the inside of the cathedral will be filled, but also the streets around the cathedral are going to be filled with priests and religious.
The Emery King is at Holy Name Cathedral right now to give us an idea of how things are there. Emery?
Well, gentlemen, I heard Kerry Cochran report to you earlier that anticipation was building up at the military side of O'Hare. Well, such is the case here. It's been building up since 9 or 10 o'clock this morning on the corner of State Street and Superior, where people have been waiting for a glimpse of the Pope when he arrives.
Wearing the same double-breasted white coat, he steps onto Chicago soil. Very near it. Coming slowly down the ramp, smiling and looking quite fit.
When you think this is the third city today, it began in Philadelphia, Des Moines, and now Chicago. Each time with lots of pressure and demands upon him.
Into the receiving line, Governor Thompson will be there among the first, and Mayor Jane Byrne also.
The people love him here. This is their Pope. This is a Polish neighborhood. A lot of people are wearing Polish costume.
The Holy Father now walking into Holy Name Cathedral. Inside, many have been gathered for hours. The singing going on. One last wave to the crowd gathered outside. Luciano Pavarotti, Ave Maria.
He flew here just to do this.
And volunteered to do it.
Yeah.
Holy Name Cathedral, a very pensive Holy Father.
I am feeling
Here's the welcome by John Cardinal
the
Cody.
overwhelming gift of joy.
You must go sleep. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Go sleep.
As he moves down the sidewalk toward me, along the barricade, the crowd is surging in his direction. Everyone trying to get close, everyone trying to get in a position where they can get a look. Those who aren't fortunate enough to be on this side of State Street, on the other side of State Street, are just craning their necks and standing to watch. But the excitement is tremendous here in the air, and people are crowding in behind me. At this moment, he is holed up halfway down the block from where we are, right on the corner. He should be passing right in front of us momentarily, but for the moment right now, I'm unable to see him at all. And now as I see the police officers moving, we still can't see him, but the crowd is anticipating his arrival and everyone's waiting. Perhaps you have a better vantage point than I do at this moment.
Emery, yes, we have an absolutely perfect vantage point for an absolutely incredible picture.
He's loving it. He's just loving it.
I want to ask a reporter's question, Emery, of a reporter. When he goes by me, tell me your feeling, not what you see, but how you feel being that close to that man, a hard-bitten reporter who's seen it all. Can you describe it when he goes by you?
He is now going by us, gentlemen, and the crowd is chanting. You can hear them, "Long live the Pope." He looked in our direction and raised his hands, but unfortunately he's not going to come over here close, and he's moving his way, I believe, across the street. I can't see him, but I see the crowds going over in that direction. I imagine he's moving across the street to shake some hands. Back to you.
We still have a very tight shot on him, Emery. I believe our pool camera is a mobile one. If I remember correctly, it's an Italian cameraman who's allowed to get very close to him. We made his acquaintance at the Vatican. His name is Franco. And we appreciate these pictures. We're now seeing him from the back as he waves goodbye. I saw something on his face tonight that I have seen only a few other times, when he was extremely pleased. He feels warm, he feels comfortable at this second Polish town, he says. And he feels very glad to be here. I think we can all be very proud. It was a wonderful, wonderful welcome to Chicago. He has a long speech ahead of him, and quite detailed, but at least he doesn't have to worry about playing to the crowd here. These are people who know him and love him, almost an inside kind of gathering as he speaks to the clergy.
Well, if he has a burst of energy, this is it, because it's the last one, right? You know how you can put in that last little moment?
What we missed before we came back was the Cardinal opening up the window.
Spanish sign just saying that John Paul, everyone loves you.
Bishop Marcinkus there on the left pleading with the Cardinal. Get him inside, it's cold, and he needs his rest. That's good. A serious look on Bishop Marcinkus' face. Tired.
It's windy there, obviously.
Go to sleep, he suggests.
He's coming back.
An enduring quality. Climbing back inside that large window. And that should do it for the evening. If you're just joining us, we're attending Mass at 5 Holy Martyrs Church, South Chicago. This is Channel 2 News coverage of the papal visit to Chicago on WBBM TV. We picked him up at O'Hare when he landed yesterday, followed down the Kennedy to the Cardinal Cody residence last night. We have already heard our brief prayer and speech at Providence of God. We just concluded a Mass at 5 Holy Martyrs. Now we will be moving back to California, and if you are living along the California Boulevard, you should know that the motorcade is going straight south on California all the way down to 73rd, I believe, which is the site of Quigley South Seminary. The motorcade is not quite underway, so you still have time to go out along the street and watch it as it moves south.
You see how important you are. The Pope came to your seminary to meet with the bishops and with you.
Let's ask Father Roger Kaplis, who is part of that vocational training, what that means to those young men.
First of all, if I wasn't here, I'd be there. There's a lot of emotion in me because I live at the college seminary, so I know all those priests and a goodly number of those students. But I think that's just a tremendous boost to our entire seminary system, which is the largest in the country, maybe in the world. And ask me a year from now if it had any definite effect.
I have to interrupt to say to the directors, please put the camera on Father Kaplis for a moment. I have never seen a face light up. I mean, you were almost in tears.
Yes.
Why was it so terribly important? And you also said while we were watching to us privately, we worked for that one, boy, and we got it.
That's right, because there were so many events in the schedule. We asked the Cardinal to try to do that. Others said no. We fought with the Secret Service. And through a lot of hard work by a lot of men there, the seminarians were there and the faculties were there, and it's, I think, the greatest thing that's happened to the seminary system that I can recall.
Look at how the cars coming south on the outer drive on the right-hand side of your picture are slowing down to keep in step with the procession on the inner drive. They're approaching Oak Street.
Chicago drivers gawk at anything.
Hey, look, out your window. There's the Pope on the inner drive. Approaching Oak Street, the Drake Hotel.
They've blocked off the exit there to Michigan.
Yeah.
So it ought to be a pretty quick trip.
Some people have called in to ask if the Secret Servicemen are from Italy. The answer to that question is no, they are not. They are from the United States.
Included in the papal mass will be the battle hymn of the Republic, Recessional.
At the end, I'd like to say something about Dr. Peliquin's. It's his lyric liturgy from which many of these numbers are being taken. And that Glory of the Bells you mentioned, that'll come a little bit after the procession. The first one, so the Glory of the Bells would come second. The first one would be God of the Heights and God of the Depths, but all from his lyric liturgy. I think composed at the time of the installation as an auxiliary bishop of John Quinn, who is now the president of the United States Catholic Conference of Bishops. The choir we're hearing was put together, of course, by Father Robert Oldershaw, directed by Dr. Peliquin from various parishes of the Archdiocese.
Great number of people who have come from the motorcade route on Michigan Avenue now spilling across the Jackson Bridge there that crosses the IC tracks. They too will be joining the nearly 1 million people who are gathered in Grant Park for this 3 o'clock afternoon Mass, celebrated by John Paul II. It appears the final procession has begun. There's the music. Let's watch.
Praised be Jesus Christ. Alabado sea el Señor. Mola gojo legia, gomani gia lif. Sia lodato Gesù Cristo. The pattern repeats itself over and over. E pluribus unum. The many form a new unity.
There are a number of masters of ceremonies assisting in the celebration of the liturgy. Monsignor Virgilio Noe comes from Rome, is the chief liturgist for the Holy Father, and then from the Chicago area, Father James Roach, the president of the Priest Senate, and Father Daniel Coughlin, the head of our Office of Divine Worship.
Through your goodness, we have this bread to offer, which earth has given and human hands have made. It will become for us the bread of life.
It was a deep religious experience, as we could see written on the faces of all who were there. It was a quiet crowd. The official estimate is still 1.25 million people gathered there into Grant Park. Now with the trumpets on his
intonations from the Byzantine liturgy.
Here's the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Take it back.
No one is leaving at this point. We would like to see the Holy Father. We want to go down to Philip Walters, who has been covering this from within the crowd itself, to find the mood, how they react to it down there. It's been deeply moving for us on television, and I know for all those who couldn't make it to Grant Park today.
It was cause for celebration in San Diego's Polish community last week. After weeks of fundraising, there was finally enough money to send Lillian Sanieski Shepherd to Chicago to see the Pope.
I'm not worth all this, really. I'm not even worth having the Holy Father look at me.
But at the end of Lillian's rainbow this morning, there was, instead of gold, a crowd. The 59-year-old cleaning lady, dressed in the bright Polish costume, was lost in the crush of humanity gathered at Five Holy Martyrs Church. She couldn't see the altar, but she took part in the Mass as best she could, reading the Polish liturgy with pride. When Pope John Paul arrived, Lillian wouldn't stand on a chair to see him. This was, after all, a religious service. Maintaining one's dignity was important. But as the communion began, Lillian started to realize that she might end up returning to San Diego without even a glimpse of the pontiff. She decided to force her way to the front, but was stopped by a woman who told her that she needed a security clearance. After hearing that Lillian had flown all the way from San Diego, the woman took her to a spot where she could see Pope John Paul as he left. Lillian waited patiently across the street from the pontiff's limousine. This time, she was in the right area, but on the wrong side of the street. The pontiff's drivers swept him away. He never looked in Lillian's direction. Still, from the look on her face, you would not have known that Lillian Sanieski Shepherd had come 2,000 miles for a 10-second glimpse of the Polish Pope. And for the 10-second glimpse, Lillian was grateful.
You have to feel it.
Did you feel it today?
Yes.
Yeah. Even with all of those people there?
If I died right now, I would be so happy.
But the Holy Father didn't see you.
No, that's all right. I saw him.
Renee Ferguson, Channel 2 News.
It'll be lifting into the air momentarily, and we will say goodbye to Pope John Paul II.